What's up guys, my name is Elson. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be installing a HYDRO. Anyways, my name is Elson. Today we're going to be doing a HYDRO install on the 350Z. And the special thing about this HYDRO e-brake is it's meant specifically for the 350Z and G35 chassis. It bolts neatly to the transmission tunnel. So this is going to be a very neat install. You're not going to have to get rid of anything. Everything's going to work the way it should. Your AC, your heater, whatever you want. And it's going to be hidden perfectly, and it's just going to be just the HYDRO handle itself sticking out of the shifter bezel, so it looks very neat. But before we go any further with the video guys, if you can do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button with the bell notification turned on. Also leave a like at the end of the video if you liked it. That massively helps out the channel. I am a small channel, so that helps me grow a lot, and I would really appreciate it if each one of you could do that. And now let's get to the install. It's a fairly simple install if you're going to be doing it in line. The hardest part that I found was actually finding the right lines to go with the HYDRO to match up with your car. So this is what I recommend. So the HYDRO itself, it's gonna have numbers written to what thread pitch line it needs. So you can buy that line with that thread pitch that will bolt directly into your HYDRO. And then the other end, you can either do what I did, which is buy a fitting by itself, and then I cut the other end of the line and put that fitting on and I flared it. Or you can buy an adapter. So what the car takes on the ABS module is gonna be a M12 by 1. I had a really hard time finding what that was, so I'm giving you guys that information so it's a lot easier. So make sure the line on the car side, it's going to be M12 by 1, and on the HYDRO side, I'm not too sure what it was. I think it was a 7/16 by 20 and a 3/8 by something, but it's written on the HYDRO itself, so that's not too difficult to find. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I have everything routed.
So before I do anything, I actually want to figure out the positioning of the HYDRO e-brake. And for my car specifically, because I have this extended shifter, which I need for drifting, the HYDRO actually makes contact with that shift knob. So what I'm going to have to do is move the HYDRO to the far left as possible, which means I'm going to have to trim off all this excess plastic over here, and then I'll be able to move it far left possible, and then I'll have a clearance for first gear, which I don't really use first gear for drifting anyways, but you just want to have clearance regardless. So after trimming pretty much all this section off right here, it fits really nicely. I can get the e-brake super close towards the steering wheel, so super snug against there, and put it in first, still got clearance. That is awesome. Okay, so I went ahead and took everything off of the e-brake and just left the bracket. That way I can put it in there and mark where I need to drill the holes to actually be able to bolt it up. So it's going to be sitting like that. So yeah, all I'm going to do now is get a Sharpie, mark it, and then drill, and then I'm actually going to end up raising the car up just to see what's on the other side of it, which I'm pretty sure is nothing, but I just want to double check. So I've made the marking where it's going to sit, and then I've also drawn the marks for the hole, and I managed to look from underneath here, and there's really nothing underneath there. It's just straight transmission tunnel. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start drilling. Okay guys, so as I was drilling the holes, that one's okay, that one's okay, that one, I ran into a bit of an issue. It looks like there's some kind of, it's something underneath that. So I didn't want to drill through that. I just wanted to double check. So what I did, I raised the car up, and I'll get under there and I'll show you guys that it's perfectly fine to just drill through that. It's not gonna hurt nothing. Like, put a jack stand underneath the car. Okay, so that right there is the hole closest to their shifter. Then we have another hole, it's right there, you can see that, and then this is the third hole that we're drilling. So as you can see, it's just like another piece of reinforcement plate. So I'm just gonna drill right through that. I'm not gonna worry about that. And you can see the drill would come out right there. So let me get that third hole drilled, and then we can move on to the next. Okay, so now I'm beginning to feed the lines in. I cut a little hole in that rubber grommet, not the prettiest, but I made sure the way I had it, it'd be able to seal up again, and it should. So I ran those lines through, 2 of them, and they are sticking out over here. And now the plan is to have them come in here, and they're gonna come towards the front of the e-brake, then loop around here and then go back. I'm doing it that way in case I need to lift the e-brake up and pull it. I have a little bit of room to where it can move with the brake line, where if I did it right here, just come straight up and go across or something like that, it won't really give any room to work. So
let me finish that up and I'll show you guys how that looks. So as you can see, I have the e-brake plumbed in, and I'm not gonna lie, this was an absolute nightmare to try to get this. Hold on, let me get some light up here. Okay, see a little bit better. So those are the two lines right there. So they come like this, both of them go around as originally planned, tucked in, kind of hard to see down there, and then they go along that grommet into where the gas pedal is. And right now this is all tightened down, but what I'm going to do later on is I'm going to go through the entire thing and kind of make like little tweaks and adjustments to make sure it doesn't actually rub on anything, because I'm sure right now there are a few spots where it's rubbing on, and you don't want that because the line can eventually end up getting a hole in it. Now I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing on the front side of the car. And what's going on over there is I had to buy these little fittings because I'm gonna cut this off and replace that, because that will not work with my setup right now. Let me explain to you how I have the lines routed. So this thick line, this is the one that's gonna be coming off the master over here. That's gonna go to the master cylinder. And this is going to the inlet of the hydro, which that line on the hydro is gonna be the line on the very back side. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right there. Okay, and then the green taped one, this is the outlet of the hydro. This is coming out, and that's gonna circle back into this line, which goes right here. Okay, so while watching the videos back, I realized that I actually didn't end up filming enough of the installation part itself. So what I'm gonna be doing is running through the whole thing, exactly what I did to make it easier for you guys. So this right here, it's coming from the e-brake's output, which on the e-brake master cylinder, it's going to be the most rearward angled fitting. That's the output. So this is going to be the M12x1 fitting that I was talking about. What I basically did, I chopped the line off and then I put that fitting in, then I flared it. That's very easy to do. You can look up videos of that if you need to do that. And I put a little green tape. That's going to the output of the hydro. And then this right here, this is going to the input of the hydro. So this line, it goes to the input, which is going to be the back of the reservoir. And then coming back out from the hydro e-brake, it's going to be going to this. Another important thing about Z's is most cars, what they do, this one is for the front, one is for the rear. But on Z's, I think the ones with the VDC traction control system, whatever, they made it to where one side is going to be controlling the left, one side is going to be controlling the right, which kind of makes things difficult. So what you have to do is these two lines right here, you get a better view. These two lines you're going to have to swap. So initially this was over here, this was over here. So I had to swap the two. It's very easy to do. Just make sure you don't pinch the line too hard or try to bend it too tight of a radius, because you will pinch the lines. But if you do like nice radius bends like this, it won't be an issue. Okay, and this is the lines coming into the car from the grommet. I'm sorry if you guys can't get that good of a view, but as you can see, I have it kind of just coming through the grommet over here, and they're right there, coming through the grommet right there. And then I kind of bent it with my hand, and I also bought the bending tool. And then they went into this trim, so it's nicely tucked away. You can see it right now, but once you back out a little bit, you can't really see much. So it is done very nicely. And then it goes into the trim, and let me go around to the other side of the car. So as you can see, it comes neatly around the e-brake. It tucks up against the trim. Then I made a huge 180 right here. That way, if I ever need to remove the e-brake, I can just kind of pull it out along with it. And then this is the green tape line that I also marked in the ABS side of it. So that goes into the output of the hydro, which is right there. And then this line, it goes all the way to the very back. Yeah, honestly guys, this was probably the most hardest part of this install, is getting the lines over here. You kind of have to bend them a little bit. I did buy a line bender just to make sure I didn't pinch anything. And everything turned out pretty good. It feels all solid. And then this is how I mounted it to the car. I took everything out over here. All the radio and everything was removed. And then you can still kind of see it. I set the e-brake down there. Then with a Sharpie, I just drew a line where it needs to sit. And then I ended up removing this bolt, so that way the handle comes off. Then you can get access to that last bolt right there. And then you put a little dot. drill through that, and then 2 more up front, and then stick a bolt through that, go underneath the car. It's actually, you do have quite a bit of room underneath the car to be able to do this. You don't have to really drop the transmission down. I thought I might have to, but I didn't. I was able to get a wrench up in there. Then I just had my wife sit in the car and just hit it with the impact gun, and it tightened down. And it feels very solid, and no real flexing. The trans tunnel is so this is a 2-piece sheet metal, so it's fairly tough. So very little flexing, and actually no flexing at all. It's pretty solid. And then once you actually have everything installed, all you have to do is bleed the system, which it's pretty straightforward. You just bleed it like a regular brake system, where you just pump the brake down and have someone open the bleeder in the back and then release it. But also do that a couple times, and then also hold the brake down and also pull the hydro. That just takes all the air out of the system. And there are videos on YouTube on how to bleed inline hydro systems. I know Chris Fix has one, so it should be that should be pretty easy for you guys. And then the final thing left to do, which I haven't done yet, is to actually install the shifter bezel, which the plan is to kind of take like a rough measurement and then drill like a little pilot hole here, but maybe with like a drill bit, and then try to set it in, see where everything sits, and then make little adjustments with the drill. Or if you have a Dremel, this might be easier. Okay, so now we're going to take a few quick measurements on where to drill our hole. So first things we're going to do is I'm going to take a measurement of the side of this. So that looks like the thickness of this is about 1.5 inches, almost 1.5 inches. This is just so I can know where to measure out to the e-brake. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches. So, and that's going to be like right about there to where almost the curves start. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure from the top here down to there, in that point. So that looks like from there to there. Well, I'm going to go to the center of the e-brake, handle, I should say. So that looks like about 3.5 inches. So now we're going to measure 3.5 inches down, which ends up being right about there. So that's our center point to drill. Okay, that's enough for me to see. Now we're going to measure how far inward it is from the trim bezel. 1 3/4 inches. So 1 3/4 inches from the edge of the shifter bezel would be right about there. So now basically what we're going to do is just kind of start drilling a hole out that way, and then kind of make it to the shape of this, the profile of this. This is just my way that I'm doing it. You can do it whatever way you want. Okay, so now we're gonna actually start drilling this. So we're gonna go right to our center point, start drilling. Raise it up a little bit. Okay, not the prettiest, but we are gonna sand everything out and make everything look pretty. I'm gonna drill another hole kind of right underneath it to make it wider. And we're gonna drill another hole on top of it. Okay guys, so this is the final product. It ended up a little bit bigger than I needed it to be. But again, like I said, to me it's not that big of a deal. This depends on how much you care about your interior's neatness and cleanliness. This is a full-on drift car, so it doesn't matter. So we just slipped it on. Yeah, I have to put the camera down to do this.
So I have everything buttoned up, and you can see how nice and clean everything looks. Also, this is the end of the video, so if you guys would like to purchase one of these e-brakes for your car, I will put Lit LLC's information up on screen and in the description below, and a huge shout out to them for making one of the first e-brakes that are specifically meant for our cars. Also, if you guys would like to see this thing in action, be sure to follow me on Instagram, and also please click on the video that's on screen right now if you want to see how the Sparko seat installation was done in my car. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.